Okay, appreciate everybody coming out this afternoon. Obviously, we got some wonderful news this morning when Jadeveon Clowney, and that's the way it's pronounced, Jadeveon. Sometimes it's Jadeveon, but his mom told us Jadeveon, right? Coach Johnson was the correct pronunciation. So we want the Gamecock fans to learn that, Jadeveon. And he's coming with the Gamecocks. We've been recruiting him for quite a while. Ellis Johnson did a super job recruiting him probably the last 3 years. He was on the team with Stephon Gilmore that won the state championship down there a couple of years ago. And so we've known about him, had him over to campus, and got him around as often as we could. Brad Lawing is position coach, also heavily involved. Lorenzo Ward, our secondary guy, was also heavily involved with Jadeveon. Heck, we were all involved. And also I want to thank our fans at the basketball game. When they started chanting, "We want Clowney," that seems to work. A year before we had Marcus Lattimore there. They chanted, "We want Lattimore." So keep chanting, and hopefully the top players will keep coming our way. But we're excited about Jadeveon, and our fans are going to really love this young man. He's been nothing but yes sir, no sir to me for over a year now that I've been recruiting him. And the way he loves to play the game with such a passion, our fans are really going to enjoy watching him play. So this was a big day for us. Signing players like Jadeveon ups our expectations, and certainly that's what we want to do. We want to raise them as high as we can around here, and achieve the SEC championship or more in the coming 3 or 4 years. So it was a big day for us. I think it's the first time South Carolina had ever signed the #1 recruit. I don't know how long they've been naming who the #1 recruit is, but this is a big day for us. And all the Gamecocks, our players were excited. I saw Marcus in the weight room there a few minutes ago and said you did a good job helping recruit him, along with Stephon Gilmore, Vontae, and a bunch of our guys. Did a good job the 2 times that he was here. So we're looking forward to Jadeveon being with us next year. Academically, he's actually a lot better off than several of our signees at this time, and we fully anticipate he's going to make it. So I just want to clear that right now. He's in pretty good shape up there. So anyway, we'll open it up for a few questions. Maybe a guy who really hung with him for about 2 or 3 years now, Ellis Johnson. Maybe we'll let Ellis say a few words briefly. Go ahead, Ellis.
Well, I was the one that either had the misfortune or the pleasure of recruiting him, but it was a good 3-year relationship. He started coming up when we got Stephon and Devontae, but I don't think any one person ever recruits a player. It was our university with Coach Spurrier. He had a great relationship with Brad Lawing as position coach. Coach Ward went up the last 3 times we went up, and really developed a great communication with the kid there at the end. And, so it's a process like all the great ones. You have to have a complete team, and that's what it was. And, the family, the thing I think that stands out to me the most right now that I have to comment on, the family was just a lot of fun to get to know. Maybe because of my age, but I think the one I hit it off with the best was the grandfather, Mr. John. But
sharp guy.
He was, and he's the pillar of the family, and it was a lot of fun and pleasure to talk to him. But the whole family, really a neat family, and a lot of close-knit relatives that very much cared about what his decision was, and I think that ended up having a huge effect on it.
This question is for Coach Long. Coach Long, you must feel like a kid in the candy store, not only what happened today, but obviously signing Kelsey and the 2 Dixon brothers and everyone else you signed in this class. Talk about going into next season with all the defensive linemen you got.
Well, we've got a lot of competition, and competition will make us better. And the recruiting is the evaluation. That's the most important part of it. Of course, it's easy, I think, to evaluate Jadeveon. And then it's about player development. And so we've got to do a great job of developing our players. And I'm responsible for the defensive line, and so I got to do my job.
And remember, Phillip Duke's also in that defensive line. I think we got something like 9 or 10 of the players on the Shrine Bowl team this year that dominated the North Carolina team. I don't think they picked the North Carolina team as well as they could have up there, but our South Carolina guys really played well that day.
Steve, what was it like to have to go overtime for this one and wait a couple weeks until this? Was it
Well, we
stressful?
knew that was going to happen. We all knew. And Jadeveon said way back, I'm going to announce on Valentine's Day. It's my birthday, and we just decided to do it that way. So it wasn't any big deal that much. We certainly saved a scholarship for him, as did several other schools, I guess. And we just kept recruiting him till the fax came in. Till the announcement and the fax this morning.
Coach Johnson, do you remember the first time you saw him play? Was it when you were recruiting Stephon? Was he a sophomore, freshman? And how much did he stand out even then?
The first time I actually saw him, I was in spring practice when Stephon was a rising senior. And Jadeveon would have been a rising sophomore. He'd been in 9th grade, technically. And Gerald Dixon, too. I could tell at that time Gerald had a chance to certainly be a major college player, but Jadeveon, even as a spring 9th grade player out in spring practice, he just kind of jumped out at you. Didn't know how big he would get. He was really a long, rangy kid at that time. He's got a huge frame. So it just, you know, those kind of players, those guys that are that good, they stand out even at that age.
Steve, given the hype around Jadeveon and his confidence, he said today that he thinks he can come in and start. Can a guy live up to as much hype as he has? Can anybody do that?
Well, time will tell. Certainly he'll have an opportunity to come in and earn a starting position, just like Marcus Lattimore did last year. So he'll have that opportunity. But I think now that recruiting's over, he'll get back to playing on his basketball team, working on his grades, getting all that work hopefully behind him before he's set to arrive here. Lorenzo Ward did a super job. He got to know Jadeveon probably as well or better than any of us as far as just getting to know the young man. And he actually could get Jadeveon to call him occasionally, right, Lorenzo? So why don't you tell us a little bit about just getting to know him a bit?
Well, Coach Johnson brought me in to, I guess try to start a relationship with Jadeveon, and we did. I went up there with him on 3 different occasions, and we both hit it off. We hit it off real well. I know there's a lot of speculation back and forth after signing date till today, but I asked Jadeveon to do me a favor, and we had a bond, and I said, I want you to call me every day, and he did it. And so I felt like we had that relationship. We didn't talk a lot about football or where you were going to school. It was just more about life. And so I feel like, Coach Johnson for bringing me in to let me develop that relationship with him. And again, this is about the University of South Carolina. This is about Jadeveon Clowney and his future, and coming here and doing well academically and helping us help us do what we want to do here, and that's win the championship.
Coach, were you pretty optimistic when Clowney did do that, when he did follow through and call you every day? At that point, you feel pretty good about USC's chances in signing him?
Well, yeah. I mean, you never know until you get the facts. Even like Coach said, when he announced today, he wasn't a South Carolina football player until we got the facts. And you watched the TV on Saturday with a young man up in Maryland that said he was going to Auburn. Next, he didn't send the papers in. So, you feel good about it, but still until you get the papers, and then you know that you got it.
Yeah, but I felt good about Jadeveon. In fact, I like the way he did the announcement. He just picked the hat up and one lot of this, that, or the other. Sometimes those kids like to fake one and go for the other. But he picked it up and put it right on and said, I'm going to South Carolina, and so forth. So it was neat the way he got it over with quickly there.
For Coach Johnson and Coach Spurrier, who have been dealing with Mr. Clowney for a while, how much of an achievement is it to get him to call you back, as Coach Ward did every day? I mean, what kind of achievement? Because he was one of those notorious guys that just seemed like nobody could get him on the phone.
Go ahead, Max.
I never had any problem reaching the young man. I had coaches there who could put him on the phone, and I could usually get him when I wanted. I just didn't want to drive him crazy. He talked to Stephon a lot, and I probably knew what he was saying more than he knew I knew what he was saying. I'm joking. I had the advantage of having the best Facebook and the best Twitter all the recruiters, because I had killed more than all of them. It really wasn't a fair fight.
Steve, is it more important the fact that you got not only the #1 guy in the country, but you also got to keep an in-state product for your team?
Yeah, that's good for us. That's good for University of South Carolina, and our process of trying to be a top team in the conference is taking some steps in the right direction, we believe. Winning the Eastern Division last year and getting a player like Jadeveon, who obviously could have gone to Alabama, Florida, Ohio State, sort of the glamour recruiting schools. But he chose to play for his home state university. And he was here the day we beat Alabama. And I just remember telling him, we can win big here. And he believes we can win big here. And so that was something important to him, his home state university. We can win big here. So hopefully that process is heading in the right direction as we go here.
Coach Berry, you've had guys who were ranked really high who come in and either worked out or didn't work out, but how do you begin the, for lack of a better term, de-recruiting process now once he's in the boat and he's done having everyone kiss his butt?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we tell them that. We tell them recruiting season's over once they arrive on campus. And they're just like everyone else. And I think Jadeveon will understand that, really. And he's really a fun kid to be around. He doesn't act like a big shot when you're just hanging around. So his goals are like ours. So I think he'll be ready to get to work and contribute whatever he can, as much as he can, all the time he's here.
I'll add one thing. When he called me after he signed, he didn't say, were you watching? Or did you see it? Or I told you. He just said, Coach, I'm going to be ready. So that's what's in his heart and his mind right now. And I think that's where his goals are. That's what he's thinking about right now.
That was kind of along the same lines, just where is he physically and how does he maybe fit into what you guys do or want to do?
Physically, I mean, he's ready. I'm sure upper body strength, there are a lot of things that high school players are certainly behind SEC players. But his speed, athleticism, size potential, I mean, he's already he's almost NFL caliber physical abilities. And it'll be a learning curve. The SEC is a different neighborhood.
Brad, kind of following up on what Ellis just said, with your defensive ends, how do you see Clowney comparing with those guys, and how do you plan to work him into the rotation early on in defensive end?
We've got pretty good speed at that position right now. Of course, and he adds to it, and he's an exceptional player. But from day one, I'm going to give him every opportunity to have success, be good. I think it's up to him to get that done. And I said it's up to me to teach him. So we're going to get him involved from day one.
But also, I might add that he's not always going to have his hand on the ground playing defensive end. You can always put a tight end wherever that Russian defensive end is, or a back's sitting there. So Jadeveon, he'll be coming from all different angles, right, Coach Johnson? A lot like Norwood did. Yeah, a lot like Norwood. And even the 3-down lineman with linebackers standing up, coming from all kind of places, is a type of scheme that we'll probably get into a little bit here and there. So he'll have an opportunity to make plays from other positions than just defensive end.
Reminder too, since the last time we visited, Amir Bird also.
That's right, yeah.
We talk about him now?
Okay.
Coach Berry, just one question, wondering where he ranks as far as high school kids that you recruit before talent-wise?
Well, he's ranked #1, I guess, the only one I've ever signed that I know of. I don't know that they had those rankings back in the 90s, did it?
I don't think they did.
I don't think they did. So we obviously signed a lot of good players at Florida in the 90s and so forth. But who knows? Time will tell. Like we say about all of them, time will tell. But I did read an article, and about a month ago that some guy was saying that not only is Jadeveon the clear-cut number one recruit this year, he might be the number one recruit of the last 15 years. And that was sort of scary reading that we had a chance to sign a player of that caliber. We've got to make sure, we've got to make sure we just coach him up and keep his head straight, which we think won't be a problem, and go from there.
Coach, there was one year they ranked him in the 90s. Cornblue did that 1 year thing. He was ranked.
National? I thought he didn't.
He was ranking players back then.
Yeah, that was just a state of South Carolina, wasn't it?
Clowney would be a 7-star by my reading.
Coach, can you confirm and sum up, I guess, the whole Shane Beamer thing that we're hearing today?
Yeah, Shane's going to go work for his dad. And I think it's a wonderful move for Shane to get to coach with his dad. Dad probably coached 3 or 4 more years, he told me, and opportunity to coach with him had never come up, and it came up. So we wish Shane well, and Shane did a super job recruiting not only his guys this year, but coordinating all the recruiting. He's been an excellent coach here, and we understand coaching with your dad is something I think you should do, to tell you the truth. Those guys know how to win up there at Virginia Tech, and it wouldn't surprise me if they win the ACC once or twice in the next few years.
Have you had a chance yet to even look into replacing him in any?
No, we got a little time. Got a little time to look into that.
Steve, in terms of the structure of the new hire, will you hire a recruiting coordinator, or might you reshuffle and move somebody on here to recruiting coordinator, et cetera?
Yeah, I think we're looking for the best special team guy with the best track record that we can find. I think that's what I'm looking for right there.
And then you'll make a decision on recruiting coordinator title?
Yeah, we'll probably give that title to one of our current coaches who's been here a while and knows the state and so forth. I'll tell you what, Robbie Lyle, our director of high school relations, and he really is our on-campus recruiting coordinator. He did an excellent job, the whole recruiting process. I think 33 out of 37, something like that. Official visits, 33 of them signed with us out of 37 official visits. So Mr. Hyman and the Board of Trustees were happy that we were very efficient this year in recruiting. Only wasted a little bit of money here and there. But I remember our days at Florida, we'd bring in 50 guys and hope to sign 20. You know, everybody just visited. They just visited all around just for fun of it back in those days. But young men are committing earlier, and it's really a little bit smoother way we do things nowadays, I think.
Taking a cue from the esteemed Mr. Fink, what about Demir Bird? Obviously, he's great speed. Is he someone who can come right in and maybe help out in the return game next year?
Well, hopefully. Demir Bird is one of the fastest players in the nation. He went to play that All-Star game down in Charleston and caught 2 long passes for touchdowns and was the most valuable player on his team. He's a national track kid. The reason we didn't get his facts, he was flying to Osaka, Japan, I think, to run a 60-yard dash. That's a long way to run 60 yards. That's what he did. I think he ran 1 race, I think, too. But anyway, I think he won it. GA, I guess, would let us know. He came in second. Oh, he did, yeah. But he had a fast time anyway. But he's one of the fastest kids coming out, and we'll see how it works out with him.
With that, Steve, on that same line, could Bird be a guy who fits right in on kick return, punt return?
Well, it could be, and we got several other guys wanting to do that too. So we'll see. We'll give them all a chance and go from there.